Good afternoon. Man, another beautiful day, y'all. I don't know what y'all be thinking about, man, but the bird, that bird and them suns, man, they just do it for me. I hope that the birds and the beautiful rays of sunshine do it for you guys as much as it does it for me. Because that's what life is all about, man. Joy, happiness, uh, the little things that we love in life, that make us happy on a daily basis. Our guest today, the thing that makes him happier, and most days happiest is Jonesboro Hodge Tigers football. Let's welcome a young fellow that we're building a great friendship, a great brotherhood. Uh, and he pretty doggone good at what he do, man. In his years at Jonesboro High, he's won a lot quite frequently, I think. Please welcome Terrence Blankenship. What's up, Coach?
What's going on, man?
Not much. Welcome to Prep News. First time, man. I'm honored.
Yeah, what took so long? Thank you for having me.
Hey, so you gonna give me a taste of my own medicine, huh?
Nah, man, it's good to be out here, man. Anything I can do, man. Help
Man,
you out. Hey, bring a little notoriety to my school, man.
yeah, man. I usually tell coaches, man, when we've been, I think we were social media friends a couple years before we even really met.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
so I've been following you. I've been a fan, and I usually tell coaches that I've been interacting with for this long. Oh, you running from me, huh? You running from me? You scared to get this heat, and you gave me a taste of my own medicine, man. So yeah, I like it, man. I like it. I like it. Tell us a little bit about Terrence Blankenship, man.
Well, I'm Terrence Blankenship, head football coach, athletic director here at Jonesboro Hodge High School. This is my alma mater. I graduated back in 1990, so that'll tell you my age right there.
Yeah.
I've been head coach here since 2013, man. I graduated from Grambling State University. I got my secondary education from Louisiana Tech University. I'm married, man. I have a son. So, yeah, I just doing like everybody else. I coach football here, and I'm head track coach. So I'm busy year round, but it's my own time. I'm glad to be here.
Right, man. I tell people, I think, especially in today's time, in today's cycle, that coaches that come back home and coach at their alma mater at the high school level, because of the love they have for their alma, they do really well because they can see things now in the future, especially, a guy like you that doesn't take being the football coach for granted, that doesn't take being the athletic director for granted. You can see things now because the game is different, it's changed, it's bigger, it's stronger, it's faster. And you understand the principle and the standpoint that if you don't, as a head coach, if you don't grow mentally, the game will pass you by.
It will, this sport here with the kids we deal with today. I mean, not just even in football, but all sports. The game is changing, kids are changing. I mean, I think every sport is dealing with, I guess you can call it a second league, the AAUs, the 7-on-7, the travel ball. So, when you get kids involved in that, their heads go to another level, and that's another giant you got to fight, once you get them back into your program. But, I mean, that's the joy of coaching, man. You have your ups and downs, but at the end of the day, it's about the kids, man. You just trying to help them to be successful young men or women in society.
When did you know that you wanted to be a football coach?
When I graduated from college, and Mama said, "You got to find a job." That was the and that was the first thing in this little town. I was subbing a little bit, and then it turned to a full-time job. And hey man, it took off from there, and I got married. And when you get married, you know how that goes. We got
Yeah,
responsibility.
that real responsibility
Yeah,
thing.
I've been through. I'm stuck with it now. So, but hey, I enjoy it, man. I enjoy it.
Yeah. So thinking back, again, you were an athlete, uh, all up uh, the 165 and I-20 corridor. The name Blankenship. The name Blankenship has meant speed, power, quickness. Like every Blankenship I've known have been really good athletes, no matter the sport. How'd you gain a passion for athletics in your younger life?
Well, I think it, like you said, it was just bred in me. My mom was a Blankenship, but on the other side, my dad was an Anderson. So
Okay,
you didn't have a choice. You grew up around sports. Plus, back in our day, it wasn't all this stand up in the house playing the video game. They made you get your behind outside. You had to work. You had to get outside. So we just played multiple sports. Year round, and it just carried on. With your buddies that you go to school and college. That's what we love doing. All sports. As you get older, though, you figure out which ones you can and can't do.
right, right. Uh, when you look at it, again, in your age range, being a G man,
That's right.
being a G man, being on campus with the greatest dude to ever coach college football, Eddie Robinson. Uh, what did you take from that? What did that mean to you?
Oh, that been a lot. First time I met Coach Robinson is in that old building behind the Union. If you know Coach Robinson, you went to Graham. You saw him. He wasn't the type of guy that you didn't see out of anything. You always saw it. And I went in his office and spoke with him, and you can just tell that he was just full of knowledge, and he was just a great man. He's a great father to many, 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 many people that come through that
Right,
program. So he means everything to Grambling, man. You're not gonna speak Grambling and not speak about Coach Eddie. And college football, in general, he did a lot back in his day for
right.
PCUs.
Even exceeding death, he's meant a lot to Grambling because it speaks of the tradition and the prestige that made Grambling State University what it is, and why so many alumnus still to this day eat, sleep, and breathe Grambling State University.
That's right. Like I said, if you speak of Grambling, his name's going to come up along with the other football and basketball greats, baseball greats that have come through there. His name is definitely going to come up. And when you go to a game, it's Eddie G. Robinson Stadium, so it's going to be hard to even just maneuver around that campus. I don't care who you are, you're going to hear that name. And like I said, with college football, you hear that name too. But he definitely put Grambling on the map, and we still riding his coattail.
Right. Principles and philosophies. Um, and for me, even now that I don't coach youth athletics or middle school athletics anymore, coaching is still a learning process, a learning curve, as far as understanding how the game is changing and evolving every single year. How do you maintain a high level of principles and philosophies in today's game of football?
Well, we were at the coaching clinic last week. You were there with us, and a lot of the speakers, and that's what they spoke on their programs about things they were doing to try to keep, try to build that program and just keep it at a steady pace going. But every year it's got to grow because kids change every year. But I think one thing I took from Coach Kirby up there at Tech, he spoke with that word loyalty, man.
Right,
You got to be loyal to the kids, and the kids got to be loyal to the program for that roll. You got to have discipline. This day and time, kids. I wouldn't say kids, but players. They have a lot more at their hands, than we had back then. So, they pretty more advanced than we were. So you got to just try to deal with that with them. But I just think, man, if you can just try to build that program on loyalty and discipline, man, and then you got to be consistent, man, whatever you do, all across the board, Coach Saban always said everyone is treated fairly, but everybody's not treated the same, and
Right.
and that's kind of, just the way you have to take it these days. But it's just a struggle every day, but it's fun. That's just part of the game, right there. Just trying to keep that program right there. Like if you be loyal to your kids and have some discipline, man, keep some respect in it. I think you can be successful. I mean, even if you're not winning 10, 12 games every year, if you're just having fun with the kids and the kids enjoying themselves and they being successful, that's what it really just boils down to.
Right, right. When you look at yourself and the success that you've had as a football coach, how much can you attribute to learning as much from the players as you tried to teach them, and the willingness to meet them in the middle of where they're at and help them understand that growing the game is helping grow themselves, their IQs, and their skill sets.
But hey, I'm glad you asked that question. I just brought that up out there on the practice field this morning. I was speaking to my quarterback. I actually spoke to one of my receivers, and he was actually doing a little something extra in his route running. And I asked him where he got it from, and he told me he'd been watching such and such, watching this player. So I went over at the end of practice. I spoke to my two quarterbacks. We got a quarterback battle going on. Neither one of them kind of separate themselves, and I told them, I said, y'all need to take this right here from your teammate. I said, us coaches can only do so much with the time we have with y'all. I
Right,
said, but in order to get better, I said, you're going to have to find your quarterback that you like. I said, I don't care if he's in college or pro. I say, just kind of study him a little bit. I said, then you got to come back here and you got to be able to get on the same page with your receivers. I said, once you get on the same page with your receivers, I said, then the game becomes easy. Then I spoke to everybody and I told them, I said, linemen, linebackers, running backs, I said, everybody. I said, when y'all out there on that field, whenever 11 of y'all are out there, you got to be able to be on the same page. You got to be able to look at each other and almost know what that person is thinking in that situation. I said, that's when you know you've been around each other long enough and you really, really, really putting your effort into being successful. And I told him, once you do that, I said, your friendships will grow off the field, man. And you come back 5, 10 years from now, you'll talk about the good time.
right. You mentioned the coaching clinic a few moments ago, man. A lot of people go to coaching clinics to hear the speakers. A lot of people, a lot of coaches rather go to the coaching clinic to further maintain relationships with guys that they don't get to see on a weekly basis or on a daily basis across the state. And sometimes all they have is that phone to pick up and exchange knowledge. When you think about the coaching clinic and what it means to you, and how you get to use the resources of talking to guys that and men that you made friendships with, how do you bring the stuff that you've intertwined in conversation from other coaches and utilize it in your program to help your team be better?
Well, when you go down, like you see, you get a chance to see some coaches, that you hadn't seen probably since last year, maybe even football season. And when you go to talking to them, you sit down, you start picking their brain, they're picking your brain. You just try to see what are they doing in their program, certain ways, what's things you're doing, maybe something you can pick up for them, maybe you all share some ideas. But then when you come back here, you talk to your coach, you talk to the kids, and you let them know, hey, they doing this down at A Meet, they're doing this at Manning, they're doing this at Ruston High. It's the same thing we're trying to teach, or maybe it's just something we need to start trying to teach. So it's kind of like a little learning thing, Then with the speakers, I really enjoyed Coach Cooks from LSU on Wednesday. He did a good job on breaking down that cover three. So, and we were talking about it on the track this morning, me and my DB coaches. The term he was using, it's the same thing we do, just different terminology. So I said, hey man, just show the kids the video and maybe they'll understand a little bit better. So they say LSU coach is doing it, but he just calls it a different terminology. So I say, hey, but I mean it's always good to go down there and just try to pick the brain and see what can you get, man, actually bring back here and maybe help your program out on and off the field.
Right, right. I talk to coaches all the time, and one of the things that I try to talk to coaches about because it's uber important. Like it's probably the most important thing that happens with a high school program, and that is developing skill set and IQ and knowledge and understanding. And watch this right here. This one right here is the biggest kicker, though. Establishing a love for the game that supersedes the things and the distractions that happen off the field. How have you and your coaching staff been able to grow kids from freshman year to JV year to now they may be at varsity as their sophomore year in using the same terminology with the freshman team, the JV team, and the varsity, and you doing the same drills, freshman, JV, and varsity, and now it's second nature.
Well, I mean, like you said, you guys when you bring them in as freshmen, obviously they come from the junior high and they've been the big man on campus down there. They think they just walk out here. I said, no, that's not how it go. And so you got to kind of break them down, let them know you got to pay your dues just like these guys before you. But you want to get them out there, and they kind of shy, they hanging back. But you try to get them engaged as much as you can. Like tell them, hey, you're not gonna do this right all the time. We understand. I say, but you see such and such. I said he wasn't doing it right when he first came. Now I said, but you see it. I said you got to work. You got to keep working. So you just got to coach them up a little bit different, little easier. Don't be as hard on them because they'll go into the tank or they'll go to basketball or they'll quit. So you have to, so you gotta have to coach them. But once you get them through that freshman year, if you can find, like during the season, man, just give them a little time here and there. Maybe you're down or maybe you're up, but if you can get them on the field, when you get them on the field, like you got to coach them up. Don't be hard on them. So, and then maybe that sophomore year, hopefully you can get them out there. Maybe get them on special team, but you want to get them engaged as early as you can to keep them interested. And hopefully by the time they sophomore junior year, they ready to be a starter for you, and you just start all over with the next freshman. So, but
Right.
it's good little challenge to have. But like I said, you lose some. They come out there and it's not what they thought in junior high. So I'm just gonna go on to basketball. I got AC up here.
So how do you know for the kids in your area in the Jonesboro Hodge region when you've given them too much tough love and when you need to maybe pull the reins back a little bit to you know so that you don't lose them.
Well, it's kind of little. I ain't gonna say it's easy for me, but I'm from here, so pretty much I know all of them: mom, dad, grandmother, uncle, brother. So I know if mom is treating them like king over there, or mom or whoever is not. So, but you can tell me once you get them there. Once you get them there that first day, because we get the eighth graders up in the spring. So when you kind of harp on them a little bit, you can tell the ones he ain't gonna, he's not gonna take it. Or what we learn to do is you gotta break the look. They come up here as a group. You gotta learn to break them up from their friends if the friends are not as advanced as them or not going to motivate them, kind of holding them back. So you kind of separate them, put them in the group with some of the other kids. But for the most part, the ones I've had this year right here, it's been a pretty good little group of freshmen. They've hung in there and they've worked hard. So I hope it transfers over through the JV season for them.
The process, the rule on the process is that it takes what it takes. And so when you're trying to decide which kids that you can move up from freshman to JV or JV to varsity, or which kids that you may just have to say this, and it's a hard conversation to have with a child. Look, football may not be your sport, um, and I'm telling you this so you won't waste your time.
Yeah.
Uh, and I want us to be able to remain, uh, to be able to retain our relationship as coach and student. That way, when you see me, you won't have any ill will toward me past high school. Um, how do you know which kids uh, need to continue? and which kids you may need to have that tough conversation with.
Well, you can tell most of them by if they're really engaged, they really engaged in practice or even on game. If they kind of hiding in the back there, they just want to be on the team. But we don't have that problem here. Our numbers aren't that great, so anybody we got, we need to try to keep somewhere. He may not work out these first 2 years, but maybe he can be a special team player or something down the road. Yeah, I mean, I haven't had that. I mean, the ones that want to quit usually quit. I mean, you get out there in August and it's 105 and they got those helmets on. You have one of those days like, okay, I want to run one or two of them off. Everybody keep these helmets on, buckled up. Don't unstrap them until we get a water break. So, or you may run a few little extra sprints if you want to, get some of them out. But now we haven't had that problem. Usually they don't want to play. They usually just go ahead on and quit. But no, we don't have that problem in J. Hodge.
Man, that's funny, man. I'm over here laughing. That's why I can't. I'm laughing like really loud on the inside.
Yeah, I mean, we got some. We still trying to pull off the house to get out here, so we're not definitely running them out. But for the most part, the ones we have out here now, we're satisfied with. We ready to start this 2023 season off with our team. So it is what it is here.
What's the difficulties of getting kids to come out and try? And again, I know like in the past, especially when I was growing up, it wasn't really on the public school sector. It wasn't a thing of kids trying out. In public school, you make the team.
That's right.
Not all schools have and live by that philosophy, but in most public schools, if you want to come out and play football, the coach is going to try to find the proper uniform to outfit you with, to keep you as safe as possible. But when the challenge of you seeing a kid walk the halls every day that you may say in your mind, because you know what you're looking at, as long as you've been in the game.
Oh yeah.
Man, I need you out there on that football field. How hard is that at times?
It's hard. I mean, and then, you know what? I think in this day and time, man, and people get tired of saying it, but it starts at home. It starts at home, and if a kid is not being pushed at home, then it's going to kind of be hard for you to get them out there and make them stay. They may come. Back in my day, the old saying, if you start something, you're going to finish.
Right.
But nowadays, it's okay for a kid to go out there and quit and don't even need an excuse. Or they say, I don't like the coach, or it's too hot, and that's okay, But that didn't fly back in the day. If you started, you're going to finish. And that's the philosophy I live by, and that's how I grew up. But yeah, there are a couple, and that's some in school. We start school back on the 16th. And there'll be some, they come and play football now, man. You ain't finna miss out summer and just think you're gonna walk out here and show up on Friday. So that's what a lot of them want. But like I said, it's a struggle, I think, like I said, with the public school. A lot of them having the same thing, man. We're just losing a lot of these kids to the streets, man. I mean, back when we grew up in the streets, man, the people out there that weren't doing right, they didn't pull you in. They pushed you away, told you don't come this way. Nowadays, those people are putting the kids in. So that's what we're battling, like I said, in the public school system, So
right.
get lucky sometime and get a couple of them out, but for the most part, if they don't come, do spring and summer workouts, they usually not interested in those sports.
When you're from a small community, like Coach Bear at Madison, Coach Levi Washington, who's back at his second stint.
Yeah, Madison.
Yeah, Madison, and I'm Coach Landry's at Dale High.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They talked a lot about the community being a really big part of the success. And I interviewed one of Madison's football players as well, and he talked about how important it was, especially for them this year, and them trying to have one of the best seasons that they've had in the history of Madison, about the community not just showing up for homecoming and get on the road and travel,
Right.
uh, make monetary donations, make water donations, make snack donations, and come to packing our home side during home games. Uh, how can how, how can we get people to understand the importance of that, and not just the athletic side of it, but when you're a parent or an auntie or an uncle or a cousin, or even just, I'm going to see my dog play, man. I don't play football, but my homie play. We've been friends our whole life. Mama, I need that $10. I need that $8 to get in the game. Uh, how do we build stronger communities from that aspect and perspective?
It's good. It's a good question, but hey, they always say winning is what makes them come out. But like you said, man, I mean, if you have a loved one, then male or female, like I said, it doesn't even have to be your son or daughter. It could be your nephew. It could be your
Right,
first cousin, your grandson or granddaughter. I mean, you got to invest in. You got to invest. The community has to invest in the kids. And I told a guy this when I was coaching Little League. My son, he had his son on there. The grandmother would come, the uncle would come, and they always sat in that one spot. And those kids know that when they come
right,
out, they look to that one spot. And I had to tell her, I said, "Look, man, stop telling your son that you coming and you don't show up." Well, my mom and my brother, I said, "That's not the same." I said,
right,
"He's looking for you because you telling him you coming and you never come." I said, "They always there." So
right.
he
You know,
already he kind of
he know they gonna be there.
yeah
That
he
ain't
knows
the issue.
be there. And I think that just once for some reason when kids get older, and not all parents, there's some great parents in this world, but for some reason, like you said, they just want to show up on homecoming, or they want to show up when we play Winfield, our rival, or Lincoln Prep, or Arcady, But you got to come to, like I said, you got to come to these other games. That right there is what really, really, that's how you invest in kids, and that's what makes them successful. When they know somebody is there for them,
Right.
all the time. Same way with school. You got to make sure that kid, gets up and goes to school, properly dressed, has the materials they need, and you got to, stay invested with them academically. You got to be there. It's just more than just sitting them off and letting the teacher or the coaches raise them. That's not how it goes. Community has to work with the school system to make a kid successful.
I know even more than that. Sometimes a child can be in the on the football field or on the basketball court, and if the gym is packed, sometimes they may not be able to directly find your face.
Yeah.
But more than anything, they're listening for your voice.
Oh, no doubt.
They're listening to hear, "Great job, son," or "Great job, nephew. Nephew, you killing it."
That's right.
Uh, that I think that's one of the things that we need to make mention of when we're talking about support. And even on the games that you can't make it, send that $8, man.
Yep.
Send that $10 or send that $12. Whatever the gate is, the entry fee is, even though sometimes you might can't make it, the financial donation still is needed to get necessary things that the children need
Exactly.
to be comfortable.
Oh yeah, I mean these sports, not just football, all of them. I mean, people don't even understand, man. I try to tell them before you ever they out, trying to sneak in here and there. I say, look, man, officials got to be paid. Football, baseball, basketball, soccer. And they're expensive, but you know what? The officials do a good job. They deserve what they get. So that's why I tell them. I said, man, off the top, we gotta pay the officials before we ever start trying to put any money into whatever sport it is. But like you said, you gotta have that right there, that support. Because kids, you want to reward them with stuff. I try every year. I make sure I feed my kids. I make sure I buy them, a warm up. Every year we get a warm up. I let them pick the color and let the seniors pick the color. I buy them a warm up. So you just try to give them stuff during the year, make them be comfortable, make them feel appreciated, let them know that, hey, we coach you hard and we rag on you a lot, but at the end of the day, we still love you. We're going to take care of you. We're not going to mistreat you. But like you said, you got to have that money, man. I mean, you go to talk about feeding kids for 10 weeks, man, and
Right,
buying up suits and I don't know how it is everywhere else, but when we ride those school buses, man, that comes out of the sport you coach fund. So
right,
even though I ride a bus, I got to pay for that gas in that bus, to the school board. So there are a lot of fees that people don't know, that comes out of sports. So in football, it's fortunate enough to have extra $2, but you think about the smaller sport. You think about the track and the baseball and the softball.
and the
Kind of
volleyball.
yeah, the volleyball where the crowd's not as big, so you don't have that much revenue coming in, and you need all you can get. So yeah, you definitely need the sponsorship and the people paying at the gate, man. To support the kids.
Right, right. You talked about winning um, brings fan, the fan base uh, out to support, the kids and the team. What happens when the team isn't winning? What happens when there needs to be a schedule adjustment? Because you're not, everyone's not always going to be at the top of the food chain in high school athletics. When you think about when your teams have gone into a slump or a lull, or they may have a couple of bad games in the middle of district, because district sometimes can be really tough, and
Yeah.
that's one of the things that I got to give credit to the LHSHA for, is trying to make the districts as competitive as possible, um, with equal talent, equal teams, equal talents. And we know that's based off numbers as well.
Mhm.
But how do you make the adjustment this year? I'm not saying in general from this past season, but from a perspective of logical or figuratively thinking, okay, this season didn't go this well. I'm at the end of my contractual agreements of non-district games. I need to find a better schedule to build confidence within my team, my program, my kids, so that now as the season progresses, we can be better as a whole and as one. What goes into that philosophy?
Hey, I'm glad you brought that up because this season, yeah, this football season just passed. High school coaches, we do the 2-year contract in sports. Well, this football season just passed. I already had coaches getting ready for the 2024-25 season.
Right.
So I mean, they kind of getting like college. They looking way down the road. So man, you gotta try to jump out running with them. But like you said, this is the year of redistricting. So you still try to schedule some games, not knowing what's going to happen with the districts, and classification stuff. So hopefully those will stay that you get. But if the districts change and one of those teams end up in your district, or your district become larger, you may lose a game. So, I mean, it's tough. You just got to keep your ears open. You got to try to just beat the other guy to the punch if you want, a better, more competitive game, at your level. If not, you'll be stuck with some of those college games, those pay for play games.
Right. Uh, y'all got the LSU money, coach.
Hey,
Y'all
I'm trying.
y'all y'all paying them big bucks to get them wins.
Nah, we ain't paying nobody. They may be paying me.
how when you look at you've been at Hodge now, this is your 10th year. Uh, what, what growth and IQ development as a head coach and um, the stamina that it takes to be in the long race for endurance. What things have you seen about yourself that you've been able to review as each season ends, that you've been able to help yourself become a better coach by the mistakes your team makes or have made as the season went on, and by watching other coaches or other teams that as coaches or head coaches that you respect, and you see, well, hey, these coaches may do this. I may need to see if we can incorporate this into our program for us to may see some success as a whole. Um, what have you learned about Terrence Blankenship?
Ooh, I've learned one thing for sure. I've learned calm down. Hey, when I first came into this thing as a young guy, I was rah rah, all over the place. But then you learn, hey man, you only gonna get so much out of these kids, and that's gonna be it. Because if that's all that kid got to give you, then that's all you can get out of them. So, but yeah, I've learned. I've even found myself talking to younger coaches like, "Hey, coach, man, you gonna die out here, man, behind these kids." I said, "Okay, hey, all we can do is coach them the best we can and let the chips fall where they may on Fridays, man." And you get lucky sometimes. You get a good group, get a good run, and sometimes you have to take your lumps. But the bottom line is, like I told you, just want to coach the kids up the best you can, put the best 11 out there every play. And hey, let's just see if my 11 is better than yours. And one thing I've definitely learned, I grew up when I first got in this thing, man. I was with a coach, man. We was up here 7 days a week, like we was up here on Saturdays watching clothes, Sunday watching film. I and I worked with another coach after that, and I got that. I said, "Coach, we'll come here Saturday and watch film." He said, "Let me tell you something, coach." He said, "Hey, but one team gonna win the championship in every classification." He said, "Everybody else wasting their time." He said, "Go be." He said, "Go." Hey, you know what he told me? He said, "Coach, spend time with your family, man." That's exactly what he told me. So I kind of take that little philosophy. We do come up here on Sundays and watch film with the kids, but by me being here in this town, man, I don't make my coaches come up here on Saturday. I say, hey man, I can watch these clothes just back and forth from the house. I don't live about 3 miles from the school. So when they get up here on Sunday, I've done, that clothes washing and put all that up. So I feel like Saturday is college football, man. That's family time. Go to church on Sunday and we'll talk about it after that. But yeah, those two things, be calm and make sure you don't just take all the coaches' time. And they husbands, they got families, you got a life outside of it. So I think that's two things I've definitely learned from day one. But then with the kids, man, kids are definitely different since I started. It's just call it what you make. Kids are a lot softer now than they were back then. So how you coach them up, how you treat them, man. You just gotta adapt to them. They're not gonna adapt to you. You gotta kind of adapt to them, man. Especially at a small school,
Right.
You bigger 5A school and pick and choose. But like you say, when that's all we got, you just gotta kind of adapt to them. You gotta try to figure out a way to reach and get them to buy into you. And just let the chips fall where they may. You may kick a couple of them off and they don't want to do this supposed to do. You can't let them run you over, but just got to kind of adapt to them, and just try to reel them in, man. Give them the buy into what you're teaching at the program, man, and just try to be successful.
Man, there you go. There you go. Man, I'm telling you, nothing makes me happier than when y'all make my job a million times easier. Success. What does success look like in the 23 season for Jonesboro Hodge football?
Well, I think the main thing is if we can get off to a good start. We need to get off to a good start before we get to district. We're in District 328. We're in there with the Manny Tigers, Whitfield, Mansfield, Red River, Lakeview. So we know we got our hands full at the bottom half, but the top half we want to see if we can get off to a good start, man. And just finish up, with the power rating system going on, we feel like our non-district schedule kind of sets us up, to be a home playoff team if we can, win some games. So I just think, just try to go out there. We definitely got to do better than we done last year with the 3 wins. That's number one. But I think we can go out there, man, and win some ball games early and be competitive in district, and get in the playoffs and just see, you know, what can we do. But the main thing, make sure these kids enjoying themselves, stay safe, and having fun.
Right, right. I think you guys, and sometimes uh, the coach makes all the difference. Um, you guys in 3-2A lost a really great coach, really responsible man. His name is solidified in high school athletics. His family tradition in the name Curtis is
Hmm.
solidified across the state of Louisiana, Mississippi, Texas. Uh, Jess Curtis left Manny, is now at Natchitoches Central. Uh, how do you take advantage of that door that was left open?
I don't know. I mean, the man is still he built that program up, real well the time he was there. Jess and I actually played against each other in high school, so we go way back a long way. But he done a great job, at
Yes, he did.
building
Yes.
that up. And I spoke to him when he left. I couldn't believe he was leaving, but he did. He
Right, right.
he was
I was shocked.
he was looking for a new challenge. That's what he told me. So I wished him well. I think he'll do well at Negative Center. But I just think, it gives they'll still be good. There's a lot of talent still there, that didn't graduate last year. So we still every other team still has their work cut out. It's not gonna be a cake. It's still gonna be good. But it gives you a little hope. I mean,
Yeah,
you
that's
got
all I was saying, coach.
that
That's
his
all I was saying. Because
nephew left, he left. So hey man,
man, when he
got
was
a
there,
little hope.
nobody had a chance, man. Like you just get a district championship to Manny,
They just roll. They just go ahead and start the playoffs, man. But yeah, it gives every
Man,
you got Coach Boone at Lakeview, Coach Kelly at Red River. So there's some new coaches in here, new blood. So hey, get some more rivalries started. Just have a little fun in District 328.
yeah, yeah, man. I love it, man. Nothing's more fun to me than watching the chess match that happens between coaches, but even more so watching these young kids give of themselves selflessly and tirelessly to the game and the sports that they love so much. Uh, that that really, it warms my heart. And you can't ask for any more. You can, but
Mhm.
sometimes it's called being greedy.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, man, it's been fun, Coach.
Yeah, man, I'm glad to have you on, man. Hey, call me back again. Hopefully, by the end of the season, we've had a successful
Yeah,
season.
I'm gonna call you. You play too much, bro. You play too much. Hey
Yeah,
man, me and Coach Blankenship, like I said, man, we talked back and forth on Facebook Messenger for a couple years before we had even met, man. And I believe with all the fiber of my being uh, that a beautiful friendship has been established. Definitely a ton of respect from me to him, and he's shown me that same love, and that's how friendships are built. Um, it has to be the same era of respect between men and women. And so, hey, uh, thank you for having me on your show, Coach.
Yeah, thank you very Hey, man, it was good with you last week. It's good to be on the show, man. And I'll catch back up with you down the road somewhere, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, man. All
You
you
got
got to do,
hey, you got to come up here to a grounded football game. Let's tailgate, man.
man. I used to go every year, man. I used to go every year when my situation was different.
Yeah,
I would definitely do homecoming.
yeah.
Um, and I would try to, when I first started, man, it just got to be too much. Trying to make sure I'm somewhere on Friday night, but then
Oh
you
yeah,
got to come back to Gonzales
man.
and load all your stuff up to boil or barbecue, whatever you was gonna do, and maybe travel from North Louisiana to back to Gonzales and then back to North Louisiana. It just became too much, man. But I'm definitely gonna take you up on the offer to tailgate
Hey,
this
just
upcoming football season.
just one game, just one game.
I'm waiting on that bigger invite though.
Hey, I tell you what, man. Come on up here October 6th, Jonesboro Hodge homecoming, man.
Okay.
October 6th, man. Come, we're gonna show you how Jay Hodge do the homecoming, man.
Y'all got good food?
Hey, man,
I'm a fat boy, bro. I like to eat.
Hey, don't worry about the food. We got you. Just bring your
boy.
Bring your appetite.
Hey.
Bring your appetite. I got you.
I gotta double check because that sounds real familiar with Marksville homecoming date.
October 6th, man.
And as soon as I get them justified,
yeah,
because I want to be at Marksville, and I definitely want to come hang out with you, man. When we hung out last week, man, I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then on the closing day of the convention, you guys came to the city I've been living in.
You gotta give Raúl's a shout out. They were pretty good.
You like it? Oh, shout out to Raúl's, man. Gonzales, Louisiana, man.
Get that business a little airtime, man.
Man, shout out to Raúl's. Solely because Coach liked it. Coach Glenn Hall, Coach Blank, and one of Coach
next time we'll go to the restaurant you choose then.
You know where we going then. Jay Alexander's, baby.
Wherever you do, we'll go.
No, man, I was just grateful that you guys came to Gonzales to hang out with me, man. It was really cool. And man, I love Coach Hall so much, who played football at Grambling with my uncle from 80 to 84. That meant a lot to me, man. For someone who has been what Coach Hall has been, not just in high school football at Grambling High and now Lincoln Prep, but he was a monster.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no doubt. Okay, they raised differently in Mansfield. They still got some athletes down there in Mansfield.
And even before I told him my uncle was Rufus, man, he just showed me so much love. And that shout out Coach Glenn Hall, man, Lincoln Prep Panthers. He's gonna be on next week, you guys. I'm working on setting that up, getting that, making that official. Hey, Terrence Blankenship, Jonesboro Hodge Tigers football. Shout out somebody, bro. Shout out somebody, man.
And man, I'm gonna shout out my boy Hobart Grayson for having me.
It don't get no better than that, baby. It don't get no better than that. Like, I don't know what to say, man. Thank you.
Appreciate it, man.
Shout out to Jonesboro Hodge High Administration. I don't know this to be true, but I heard that they have a wonderful principal there, wonderful faculty and staff that gives their all. So we want to shout out the whole Jonesboro Hodge High School. I don't think it's nothing left to say except for remember, get off the bench, get into the game.
Appreciate it. Now I gotta go over and wash these clothes from this morning.